Hello, everyone. Welcome in. We're going to give everyone a minute here just to keep on filtering in, and then we will begin the forum. Welcome in, everyone. Welcome to the Arizona Rural Water Infrastructure Committee Funding Forum. Happy to have you here today. I see we still got some more coming in. In the interest of time, we're going to go ahead and get started. We have a lot of great information that we will be sharing with you today. So in the interest of time, like I said, we are going to get going. Let's see. Hopefully my audio is doing all right. Okay, well, we do have a lot to get through today. So we'll begin here with our agenda. As you can see, we have 12 different speakers that we will be sharing with today. We have a lot of great information coming your way. My name is Bram Briscorn. I am with ADEQ. I'm happy to have you all here for our presentations this afternoon. Before we get going into our first presentation, just a little bit of housekeeping for GoToWebinar. First and foremost, there's a lot of slides. Like I said, there's a lot of information that's going to be coming your way this afternoon, and it is all available for you to download. So you don't need to worry about too frantic of note-taking. All of the slides are located in the handout section of GoToWebinar, and you can download the agenda. This is available for PDHs for any of you certified operators who have tuned in with us this afternoon. So make sure you download the agenda. The slides will also have all of the speakers' contact information. So if you would like to follow up with any additional questions at the end of today's forum, that will be a resource for you there. If the handouts aren't displaying on your end for GoToWebinar, please let us know and we'll get you a share file so that you have access to those same handouts as well. All of our attendees have webcams disabled. Everyone is muted. So it'll just be some nice presentations that you can tune into this afternoon. If you do have any questions throughout the presentations, there's also a questions tab here on GoToWebinar. You can click that questions drop down, type your questions in there, and we'll have several moderators who will hopefully be able to assist you, or at the very least get you the contact information for those experts who can. This whole webinar is being recorded. It will be uploaded for review and rewatching at a later point if you want to go back and catch any information that you might have missed. And if you do have any specific questions for the presentation as a whole, you can go ahead and email Sarah Conrad there or give her a call. Speaking of Sarah, we will go ahead and begin. Well, first, actually, sorry, we do have some questions I'm going to send your way here on GoToWebinar first. The first question, which should pop up on your screen here, is have you heard of RWIC before today? This is your first time, or if this is something you've been aware of, we'll give just another minute here for those answers to come on in. Perfect. Looks like we got a lot of answers here. And as we can see, it looks like we got a pretty even split of those familiar. You will get to know plenty about RWIC throughout today, but that's good that some of you have heard before. And for those of you who have not, hopefully we can give you plenty of information today. Second poll question is, what is your current role? Whether that is owner or manager, board member of a water system, if you're an operator, if you're a regulator, or anything else. Perfect. Looks like we got some pretty good responses here. One more second. Okay. There we go. It looks like we have a lot of other, those 25% of you who are operators, remember to get your PDHs, download the agenda. And one final poll here. Go ahead and select any of these boxes that apply to your system. Excellent. I'm going to close out this last poll. One more second. There we go. Again, a pretty good mix here. Perfect. Thank you for giving us a little bit of information about you. It's good to know who is here today. And from there, we will get on into our very first presentation, and I will pass the mic over to Sarah.
Great, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Can hear you just fine, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Would you go to the next slide, please? So I'm going to give you a quick overview of the Rural Water Infrastructure Committee of Arizona, which is, next slide, please, which is a committee of various federal and state agencies, anybody who can provide funding, technical assistance to water projects. So wastewater, drinking water, stormwater, all of those sorts of things. We're just a committee ourselves. The committee itself does not provide any funding or anything like that, but it's a way for everybody to come and in a one-stop shop kind of place hear about what all these different funders can provide. We are focused on systems with a population of less than 10,000 and also rural communities. Next slide, please. We have a website which you can get to here under even though it's part of ADEQ's website, the RWIC is actually separate from ADEQ. We're just housing the website. But here you can see our contact information. I'm the RWIC coordinator along with Hannah Walker. There's also some resources that I'll be talking about going forward. You'll find out when our next meetings are, right there where it says upcoming meetings, and then a list of partners, which is the same list you'll be hearing from today. Next one, please. So same list of partners, just a little bit bigger. I won't spend any time on this because you'll hear from everybody in order later today. Next one. So we meet quarterly and virtually. So it's not an in-person meeting. It is the second Tuesday of March, June, September, and December at 1:30. And the way our meetings go is we start off by having communities or water systems that are looking for assistance give us a short presentation, just 10 minutes, give us some high-level information. Then we go around the virtual table and ask the different partners on the RWIC to tell us what they can do to assist this particular community, if they've got funding, if they've got technical assistance. And then after the meeting, let's give me a week, I will send back a written summary with contacts and phone numbers so that you can follow up one by one with each of the partners that had something that might be of interest to you. So our next meeting is December 10th at 1:30 p.m. So feel free to mark your calendars. And I think on the next slide I'll show you how to get on the agenda. There you go. So if you'd like to be on our agenda for any upcoming meetings, you start by submitting this project information form. We've got two versions. There's an online and then there's a PDF. So whichever you prefer, they work the same. You can get both of them from our website. Submit it to me and or Hannah, and we'll add you to the next, oops, sorry, we advanced a slide there. Can you go, there we go, thank you. We'll get you on our next agenda and we'll let you know, feel free to prepare a presentation or just discuss what you're looking for, and then the meeting will go as I described in the previous slide. Next slide, please. On our website, we also have this funding matrix, funding resource matrix. It is several pages. This is just a screenshot of the first page, but it lays out all of our different providers, technical and funding providers, and the different things that they can offer. So just a resource for you to check out and at another time. Next slide. And then, just being it real brief today, I wanted to make sure you knew about our next meeting, which is December 10th, and that you submit that form to be added to the agenda. There is my contact information and Hannah's, so feel free to reach out to either one or both of us, and we will help you through the process. So that is all I've got. I wanted to turn it over to all our other presenters who have a lot of information for you. So thanks so much, Bram.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Up next, we have the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation. Ken, if you are ready to go.
All righty then. Next slide, please. Well, my name is Ken Isaacson, the Bureau of Reclamation. I'm the Water Smart Regional Coordinator, which this region includes all of Arizona, Southern Nevada, Southern California, and included in this area is also Hawaii and the Western Islands, including Guam, Marianas, and Samoa. Next. I will be filling in today for Lisa Rivera, who will be with you later on. She's with our Phoenix office. But as we discussed Water Smart program, I want to just touch on a few things. It is a really big program. It's become very large. It's about a $1 billion program now. And because of that, there's a little bit too much information to cover all in this section here. But let you know that what it's about is increased water supply reliability, so support water conservation and water management improvements, leverage federal and non-federal funding, meaning it's a program where we are a grants program, and depending on the specific program, there can be anywhere from 0 to 50% cost share, and then help develop local solutions to water supply issues through stakeholder collaboration. Next. What we have here is a touch of what we've done, and there's basin studies, Title 16, the grants section, the Water Conservation Field Services Program, which is my program. I'm the program coordinator and also the program manager, drought response, and the Cooperative Watershed Management Program. But all of these can and may play a part into your future if you wish it to be. Next. Here the basics are that it is a grants program, up to 50% cost share. As I mentioned, these are the applicants. They must be states, tribes, water districts, irrigation districts, and that have water and or power delivery authority, and in some cases, nonprofits. And it is in the 17 Western states, including Alaska, Hawaii, and the U.S. territories. And the funding is allocated to an annual cooperative process. Go ahead. This is our region here, as I explained it, and I think this pretty much covers what we're doing, but we can do, this is the Water Conservation Field Services Program, which I said is local, and is meant specifically to provide funding up to $100,000 for a project that complete within 2 years. Next. And those projects are, and this is one of my favorites, is system optimization review, which is a big one. This is to complete a system optimization review. It also allows you a chance to maybe put your foot a little better forward if you're applying for Denver grants, which are the bigger high dollar items. But as you can see, what you do is you have somebody come in and examine your whole system and provide a report to you and that you can use in order to prioritize what your needs are and understand what your needs are, and then what you need to get to where you need to be. Next. We also have designing water management improvements, and this can also include engineering designs, delivery, storage ponds, all kinds of different ways of, because design work is not free and it's usually very expensive. So we'll help pay up to $100,000 in design work. Next. We also have demonstration of water project technology, and we do, this is a garden that we've actually completed, but we also do things, basically if you want to road test a specific piece of equipment, say water meters, jack gates, all manner of different water related equipment, including telemetry and SCADA systems. This is one way that you might be able to do it and find out whether or not it works for your program or for your area. Go ahead. Water Smart, which is this is the big kahuna now, it really comprises all the programs which are administered from the Denver office through the regional and area offices. Go ahead. We have planning and project design grants, which is a relatively new program. Water strategy, which is improved water supplies or management. Project designs, where you are, again, these are higher dollars, so this will go up to $400,000 cost share, where you go and get yourself some plans drawn or whatever you need. You just need an engineering stamp on that. You also drought contingency planning, which we do a number of those and have done a number of those. Again, you see what the eligible applicants are, the same as mentioned before. The applicants for the drought contingency plan must participate in technical consultation. And it is not just a grant, it is actually a cooperative agreement. So we are heavily involved with it when those are be part of our lives. And so, but if you're needing help, that's how you get there. Next. The funding levels, as I mentioned, minimum is 100,000, max of 400,000, depending on where you're at and who you are, as far as like tribes or disadvantaged communities may be eligible for 0% non-cost share, up to 50% if you're a large organization. But as I understand, you're rural water, so you probably would fall into less than 50%. And then the drought contingency planning, again, it's a big deal. It's a big high dollar one. And I believe Arizona does have a drought contingency plan on file with Congress, but you can have one of your own if you wish. Next. Drought resiliency projects are just exactly that. These are on-the-ground and modeling tools that increase water supply reliability. Funding is generally in 50%. However, if in rural areas, perhaps lower. We have 3 tiers, 500,000, 2 million, 5 million, and for Task D, which is a domestic water project, up to $10 million for federal funding. Next. This includes things such as develop small-scale surface, water diversion, storage facilities, often involves putting in wells, tanks, reservoirs, things like that. And the modeling is also part of this, would install water measurement equipment, meters, things like that. So next. EWRP, or Environmental Water Resources Projects. This is where these are relatively new, this is a fairly new grant. It's geared towards growing, repairing, and developing the environmental water sources that usually comprise our water sources. And again, this is anywhere from 25 to 50% non-federal cost share, up to $3 million. And it's done through a collaborative process to advance our existing plan to increase reliability of water resources. Next. Also, eligible activities are infrastructure improvements that improve water supply, reliability and habitat. I myself up here, I am not in Arizona, I'm in the Las Vegas Valley, but we have several of these where we have washes that are being rehabilitated using these funds, but also applies for rivers, wetlands, flood, and also protects against erosion and those things which would naturally degrade the quality of water. Go ahead. So I have here is we have our website. This is kind of an important thing. You'll find everything you really need to know on Reclamation's website. How to apply for a grant. You can also get on their mailing list, and you can get on my mailing list if you wish, and on Lisa's. And so whenever anything changes, we will automatically let you know and bring you up to speed. Also, you can find older proposals that were awarded so that you're not left there wondering, how do I apply for these grants? I've never done this before. We can help you through that process. We'll give you an example, and we will even give you a hand if you're way before you're actually applying. But if you want to talk about a project or anything like that, we are more than happy to listen to you and maybe provide some guidance. Next. Again, these are the different links. Some of this is not going to be necessarily pertinent to you, but I would definitely make note of Water Smart Grants, the Field Services Program, Drought Response, and probably the Planning and Project Designs. Next. So we're getting towards the end of this. This is basically the timeline from the time that a notice of funding opportunities is posted to the part where the project is implemented and maybe even completed. It does break it out. It's sometimes folks don't know how long do they look. If you're doing planning, what would you do? Well, for planning purposes, I would go ahead and say plan for, if you've never done business with us before, plan for at least 18 months from start to finish. That'll give you a chance to get all your the things that you have to work out with grants.gov, the Department of Treasury, and all that. There's a lot of things that have to get done in order to get you ready there. But I have more than one success case where people who had never heard of us and I went to them, have followed my direction and Lisa's direction and others, and were very successful in applying for grants, and are on their 4th grant right now, is the one specifically in my mind, and working very nicely at getting a project done. And it's saved them almost $500,000 now. The one I'm thinking of specifically, nearly $500,000 worth of savings so far in their project. And what they're doing, that's just the purchase installation of equipment. But you also have to factor in your time of going out reading meters, or going out and doing all this other work that you no longer have to do. And so it's probably up in the $1 million range just in cost savings over a fairly short period of time. I think I'm getting pretty close to the end. That would be next, if I am. There's my contact information if you need it. Also, at the end of this presentation, the corporate presentation here, you'll see Lisa Rivera. Lisa Rivera is from our Phoenix office, and she's kind of my brain trust. So if you need her, please feel free to call her. That's it.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Ken. Appreciate the presentation. And with that, we'll move on to the next one. Hannah, if you are ready, from ADEQ.
Hello, Bram. I'm ready if you want to advance the slide. Again, my name is Hannah Walker. I am a Technical Assistance Coordinator for Arizona's Department of Environmental Quality Safe Drinking Water Unit, and I'm here to talk to you about our Technical Assistance and Capacity Development programs today. Next slide, please. There are a total of 1,510 public water systems in Arizona, of which 1,438 or 95.2% of these systems are considered small, which is defined as serving less than 10,000 people. Here we have a breakdown of Arizona public water systems by population served and by type of system. Approximately 74%, or about 1,140 systems, serve fewer than 500 persons. Following that, there's 17% of systems serving between 500 and 3,299 persons. So the majority of our systems here in Arizona are small, with even majority being less than 500 people served. Looking at public water system by type, we have 3 types of public water system. So just a refresher in case you haven't heard this before, we have community public water systems that serve 15 or more connections or serve the same 25 or more people year round. This is what you look at with systems that are municipal systems. Transient non-community systems serve 15 or more connections or at least 25 people a day, not the same people, for at least 60 days out of the year. And it can't be the same 25 or more people for 6 months out of the year. This is like gas station systems. Non-transient, non-community systems serve 15 or more connections or the same 25 or more people for at least 6 months out of the year, such as schools. In Arizona, approximately half of our systems are designated as community, 37% are transient non-community, and 13% are non-transient non-community. Next slide, please. Here we have a breakdown of where water systems in Arizona fall into in regards to types of entities and classification. The majority of systems in Arizona are considered small water systems, as discussed. Why is the type of entity and classification important? Well, it can determine the type of funding a water system can qualify for, and also the type of technical assistance a system can qualify for. Also, just throwing this out there, depending if a system is Arizona Corporation Commission or ACC regulated, they will need to get the commission's approval for a rate increase in order to acquire funding. So that is also something we take a look at if you are ACC regulated. We have come across several public water systems that do not have an official corporate structure designation. This is an issue as we look at the corporate structure when we're looking to meet criteria for funding opportunities and technical assistance, and most other providers also look at this designation to see if you qualify for their assistance. Next slide, please. You may be wondering, what is capacity development? I mentioned it on my title slide. Well, the Safe Drinking Water Act requires states to develop and implement a program that fosters the technical, managerial, and financial capacity of public water systems. Technical capacity refers to the physical and technical capability of the system to serve healthy drinking water that meets the federal drinking water standards. So this is source water adequacy, infrastructure sufficiency, and the technical knowledge of your staff. Managerial capacity refers to the administrative and organizational structure of the system. This is ownership, accountability, staffing, and corporate structure. Financial capacity refers to the financial resources of the system to maintain the system now and in the future. So this is looking at revenue sufficiency, credit worthiness, and fiscal controls. Why is PMF capacity important? Well, it ensures that the public water systems can meet current and future water demands while protecting public health and the environment, maintain and improve compliance with all applicable drinking water laws and regulations, and understand where additional resources are needed the most, particularly with funding and loans. Theoretically, TMF means the public water system has the ability to plan for, achieve, and maintain compliance with applicable drinking water standards and requirements and serve their customers safe and healthy drinking water, which is why ADEQ is helping public water systems with our mission to protect public health and the environment. Capacity development includes efforts to improve all 3 TMF capacities of systems. Next slide, please. Currently, community and non-transient, non-community public water systems commencing operations after October 1st, 1999 must submit an elementary business plan that demonstrates their TMF capacity. The elementary business plan must then be submitted to ADEQ for review and approval before permits of approval to construct will be granted and the system can start serving water. This ensures that systems have the TMF capacity needed to serve healthy drinking water sustainably in place before operations begin. And here on this slide, there are a few examples of technical capacity, managerial, and financial capacity that we look for within the elementary business plan. And this elementary business plan is available on our website for systems who are thinking of, or for potential new systems thinking about getting into the water business. And we also, our technical assistance staff will help if you have questions about that plan and filling it out. Next slide, please. For existing water systems, ADEQ works to identify systems in need and prioritize them for assistance. We identify the factors that are causing compliance concerns and deploy resources to the systems to provide training, compliance assistance, technical assistance, and also encourage partnerships with other public water systems. Now, while ADEQ does not provide funding opportunities directly, we provide technical assistance services, and we pay for those services through a third-party contractor or our own internal staff. Next slide, please. We do see some common areas of non-compliance within ADEQ's TA program. These can include water quality exceeding maximum contaminant levels, water treatment system failure, the failure to obtain the correct permits, such as approval to construct or approval of construction for system improvements, lack of operations and maintenance manual, failure to perform preventative maintenance, and also a lack of emergency operations plan or a lack of implementing the plan when it is needed. Next slide, please. To help small public water systems develop and improve their TMF capacity and also address non-compliance issues, ADEQ created the Technical Assistance Program. We help systems with project development or just to improve their capacity. We also have a capacity development webpage that is linked within this webpage. So this is our Technical Assistance Programs for Small Water Systems webpage on the right of the slide here with the link below. There's more information on our Technical Assistance Program. There's contacts, and you'll see my contact, as well as 2 others that I will show you at the end of the presentation. These are on the right sidebar. There's also a See More section, and that is where you can go to our capacity development webpage and learn more about capacity development. Both pages include guidance and templates that you can download to improve your capacity development. We have templates for emergency operations plans and an operations and maintenance plan that you can download, and that can be really helpful for systems. There's just a ton of great resources. Please check it out. Next slide, please. So who qualifies for technical assistance with ADEQ? A water system that serves less than 10,000 customers and is classified as either a community or nonprofit, non-transient, non-community, which from the beginning of my presentation, that is most of our systems in Arizona. So we are able to help out a lot of systems. The TA program has several contractors it uses to help a system with different projects, such as design and rate cases, and others I'll get into later. So this is provided through third-party contractors or internal ADEQ staff. Every year, ADEQ develops the Master Priority List, which is a list of public water systems to contact for technical assistance. This is all the public water systems in Arizona, and then we just prioritize them looking at different capacity criteria. And it is always open. Water systems can come to ADEQ Technical Assistance Program and request assistance. And even if we can't directly help you, we can help you, guide you to the right place. And honestly, most of the systems that we work with, they do directly contact us. So please feel free to reach out with your questions or if you think you might need technical assistance. The assistance the program provides is free. However, any recommendations made, such as purchasing equipment or construction costs, the water system may be responsible for those costs. Again, TA with ADEQ does not provide funding directly, but we will help identify possible funding sources for these costs that we can't help you with. The TA program can work with the water system to identify all your funding sources, all the funding sources that you qualify for, and determine the best option. And then once that decision is made, we can also help guide you through the process of applying for the funding. Next slide, please. So just to highlight some of the services available, we could provide preliminary engineering reports and environmental assessments, which can then be used to apply for construction funding, scoping studies to determine types of treatment, and then assistance with the design of that treatment. This can include pilot studies. Permit applications, as I mentioned before, the approval to construct and approval of construction that water systems need to begin operations. We can assist with paying an engineer to prepare the design plans. However, as mentioned before, the water system would be responsible for paying the associated permit fees. So that's just an associated cost that they would have to cover and the state cannot. We can also help with preparing system evaluations and asset management plans, rate studies, project cost estimates, and do security inspections and exercises, including cybersecurity too. We also provide training to owners, board members, management, operators, and people interested in learning more about the public water system and how to operate it the best way possible. Next slide, please. I just wanted to say thank you. Again, I'm Hannah Walker. My contact information is up there. Our other technical assistance coordinators are Linda Taunt and Stephanie Diaz, so I did include their contact information up there as well. And yep, I hope that you learned more about our technical assistance program. And as I mentioned, just reach out. Even if it's something that we can't directly help you with, we can definitely get you pointed in the right direction. But we are here to help. That's about it, Bram. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hannah. We appreciate all the information. I do see a couple more attendees have made their way in, so I do just want to remind everyone that all of these slides are available here on GoToWebinar in the handouts section. So you can get all these slides, all the contact information, the links, and everything are available to you there. Up next, we have the Arizona Department of Water Resources. Kevin, if you are ready, you can go ahead and unmute and take it away.
Awesome. Thank you very much. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Kevin Lane. I'm the Stakeholder Outreach Coordinator for the Rural Partnership Program at ADWR. Today, I'll be discussing some of the technical assistance and resources that we have available here at the department. Next slide. ADWR is a state regulatory agency that administers all state water laws except those related to water quality, which is managed by ADEQ. The mission of our department is to safeguard the health, safety, and economic welfare of the public by protecting, conserving, and enhancing Arizona's water supplies in a bold, thoughtful, and innovative manner. Next slide. So we're going to focus today on the statewide planning section, the technical assistance we can provide. The mission of the statewide planning section is to propose water management strategies to preserve and enhance the water supplies of the state on behalf of and in partnership with the citizens of Arizona. This section manages programs both inside and outside of the active management areas. For today's presentation, it would be best to focus primarily on these programs, as they are the ones that offer the most technical assistance to the public at large. I will go over a few others at the end, however. Next slide. First, I'm going to talk about the community water systems and the technical assistance we have available to you there. So community water systems are required to complete annual water use reports and a system water plan every 5 years to stay in compliance. If you are reporting for the first time and need help understanding the requirements, we are here to walk you through the process, or if you need any kind of assistance, we're here to walk you through that process. The community water systems are also eligible to receive financial and technical assistance from a variety of local, regional, and federal organizations. Many of them are speaking here today. If you have any questions about community water systems, I would focus your attention to our community water systems coordinator, Amanda Overholt. She is a subject matter expert. You can contact her via ecws@azwater.gov. Next slide. I will go into a few details though. We have a lot of technical tools that's very useful for rural communities around the state. The variety of tools to understand how to calculate the various necessary information for community water systems, annual reports, and system water plans. We also have a service area map of the community water systems and a dashboard that presents data on all of the water systems in the state. From left to right, we have the population projection tool, which utilizes census data for your area to help you project future populations and to help calculate the associated demand going forward. In the center, we have the water estimation tool, which uses various data sources, including the EPA, to help you calculate your water usage based on appliances and landscapes. And then on the right, DocuShare is a great tool that ADWR utilizes to house imaged records for the public to view. In this case, you can find all submitted community water systems annual reports and system water plans. It may be useful if you'd like to compare or learn more about drought plans, water usage, best management practices, etc. You can also utilize this tool to search for the compliance status of a system without having to go through the public records request process. Again, if you have any questions about community water systems, I would direct you to Amanda Overholt. Next slide. Now, the next program I'm going to be going over is our drought program, and we also have a lot of technical assistance we can provide here as well. It is set up to help communities to find resources they need to build a drought preparedness plan. The purpose of the drought preparedness plan is to prevent a water shortage emergency in Arizona communities. It is meant to be a tool for how you prepare for and respond to a water supply emergency. One of the goals here is to bring your supply in line with your demand ahead of the crisis rather than during it. One size never fits all, so each plan should be specific to your water supplies, your water demand, and infrastructure of each individual system. So communities have a significant amount of flexibility in developing their drought preparedness plan and associated drought or shortage stages that they would like to follow. ADWR encourages communities to share these ideas and information between each other. However, as I mentioned, each plan should be specific to the water resources, the demand, and the infrastructure that you have in your system. If you have any questions on how to build a drought preparedness plan, Maggie Martin, our drought coordinator, can help you build drought preparedness. You can contact her through arizonadrought@azwater.gov. Next slide. We also have a lot of resources as well on our website. Maggie works closely with the state climatologist, Aaron Saffel, and can help you understand your vulnerabilities with drought. All of these extra data resources are available on ADWR's website under the drought program. There's weekly reports on drought, monthly and quarterly reports as well that really give a good idea of what's going on in the state drought-wise. Next slide. So our water conservation program also has a lot of oh, I think you skipped one. Oh, I guess there was one of them got lost in the mix. One back again. Yeah, okay, I guess it's gone. You can just jump to the next one. It's all good. Thank you. So a water conservation program has a lot of technical assistance. An effective conservation program helps achieve drought preparedness. A strong and effective conservation program should assess community and service area characteristics and identify appropriate best management practices. There's a list on our website of all the different things for selecting appropriate best management practices relevant to service areas. Is it directed towards the highest water user? Is it applicable to a large portion of customers? Are customers able to take advantage of it? Will it improve a current conservation effort? Will it reduce or eliminate excessive water use or water waste? And can it come against loss and unaccounted for? All right. Now I'm on to this slide. We have a lot of resources that can be found on the conservation webpage and can help build out a successful water conservation programs. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to our water conservation specialist, Nadine Hubbard. She is a technical expert and can assist with any questions on water conservation tools and resources. Her email is conservation@azwater.gov. Okay, next slide. Oh, there it is. All right, next slide again then. All right, so now we have the Rural Partnerships Program, which is the program I specifically work with. ADWR's Rural Partnership Program began to focus on providing water resource management funding information to rural communities. The program recognized that finding funding and applying for grants or other opportunities can be time-consuming and challenging for water providers and rural watershed groups. We also recognize that applying for grants and loans themselves can be confusing and a burdensome process to navigate. While ADWR cannot help with applications or provide legal advice, there are groups who can. Local First AZ and the EPA can and do provide free assistance. These organizations and others often specialize in grant writing and grant management and offer helpful tips and tricks to navigate this process. If you have any questions about funding that you might need or what you're looking for, feel free to reach out to me at ruralpartnerships@azwater.gov and I can help you out and point you in the right direction. Next slide. Our website also is full of huge amount of resources. The Rural Programs webpage can help connect you to what you need in terms of funding. I run a newsletter that shares out funding opportunities that are open and available, making it easier to understand what's open and when. We have a page for the currently open funding sources. The website will reflect everything that goes out in the newsletter itself. And if you want to sign up for the newsletter on the website, we have a sign up that just requires your name and email, and we'll add you to the next newsletter. Or you can email me directly at ruralpartnerships@azwater.gov, and I'll make sure that you get on to the next one. It should be coming out in the next few weeks. We will also have a resources toolbox that's coming soon, containing tips on how to increase the efficiency of applying to federal grants and improve your experience. It's currently under construction, but that will be coming out soon. If you have any questions on water resources and what might be available for funding, feel free to reach out to us. I can connect you to whatever is available out there. It's a really confusing process just finding this stuff sometimes. So I hope to be a great resource to you. Next slide. So now moving outside of the statewide planning section, ADWR also conducts groundwater modeling studies and reports for various groundwater basins throughout the state. The goal of this section is to better understand the groundwater conditions throughout the state. On the right-hand side, you'll see an image of a lot of the models that we've done in the past. The field services sections also does sweeps of the basins, of every basin in the state, monitoring wells everywhere to study the water levels and groundwater conditions to help inform our understanding of Arizona water. It's a lot of the wells, they're all voluntary, and it has decreased over time. So if you have additional measured data that you feel can help us understand groundwater conditions in your part of Arizona, reach out to our hydrology section at the email on the screen, hydrology@azwater.gov. They're a great resource. They're extremely helpful. They're a fantastic group of people. Next slide. And then the final group that I'm going to be bringing up today is our engineering section, which is broken up into two parts. The floodplain management group, which serves as a liaison between the National Flood Insurance Program and local communities in Arizona. And they assist local communities through implementation of community assistance and cooperating technical partner programs. Great resource if you have recurring flood damage in your area or you are located within a floodplain. And then another great group is the Dam Safety Program, which is responsible for the safety of all non-federal dams in the state of Arizona. They inspect and evaluate operating dams to determine if there's any safety deficiencies and to remediate those deficiencies and develop action plans to remove said deficiencies. Their contact information is up on the screen as well. It's those two phone numbers. And then there's more information on the engineering division on our website as well. And next slide. So that's kind of the overview of a lot of the technical assistance and resources we provide. We have all of our statewide planning programs listed out on the screen, all the contact information. Feel free to reach out to any of them with questions for their specific group, and feel free to reach out to me as well. Again, I'm Kevin Lane, and thank you so much for coming in today.
Kevin, thank you very much. Moving right along to the Rural Community Assistance Corporation. Ramon, if you are available.
Thank you, Graham. Good afternoon, everyone. Next slide, please, Graham. And you can go to the next one as well. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ramon Lucero. I'm a regional field manager for the Rural Community Assistance Corporation. We're a nonprofit organization based out of Sacramento, California, and we provide technical assistance to public water systems across the state. Locally, we have 5 colleagues living in Arizona, technical assistance providers, with an additional 9 colleagues living in New Mexico. Next slide, please. RCAC is one of 6 partners with the Rural Community Assistance Partnership, providing technical assistance across the nation. RCAC provides technical assistance. Our region is the 13 Western states. Next slide, please. Again, my name is Ramon Lucero, Regional Field Manager. I'm located out of Santa Fe, New Mexico. I'm from a small community by the name of South San Isidro in northern New Mexico, where I've been a board member for about 25 years and a community of only about 14 service connections. I've been working in the water sector over the past 25 years. Next slide, please. Very similar to Hannah's presentation or information that you provided. What I'd like to talk about here is that given that each of the Arizona funding agencies will be providing an overview of their programs, my presentation is more of a precursor to their presentations. In my presentation, I will be speaking about the challenges rural public water systems face to access public funding, and how do we create more accessibility for small water systems. So as Hannah indicated, approximately 76% of public water systems in the state of Arizona are under 500 in population, which means that they have very little capacity. Next slide, please. So as a result of these small public water systems, they face systemic challenges due to the lack of technical, managerial, and financial capacity that Hannah was talking about. These challenges have existed since the formation of our public water systems and will continue to exist until we can build the local capacity. RCAC spends the majority of our time providing technical assistance to help communities with capacity and operational challenges. And the way that I identify this, I call this transactional technical assistance. And transactional technical assistance is really helping communities with issues that are happening in the present moment. But while that's really important for the day-to-day operations of a community water system, it doesn't really address how to help communities build local capacity. Some of the technical assistance that we provide in this area are things that Hannah was talking about. We help communities with rate studies, asset management plans, board trainings, compliance reporting, funding applications, like everyone's been talking about. The funding programs across the state are really complicated and complex. And so we can help community water systems navigate all the different funding programs, find the right funding program for you. And then lastly, we help also navigate the ACC process. Next slide, please. So in order to transition from transactional technical assistance to capacity building, we think about the idea of having to work with policymakers, regulatory agencies, and funding programs to develop the tools which support local capacity building. Across the country, one such tool is the idea of regional collaboration among community water systems. Regional collaboration creates the economies of scale needed to build local capacity. So if you look at this, we look at the challenges that we have at the state level, regional level, and as a utility. And so a lot of what RCAC does, along with the capacity building or technical assistance that we provide state level advocacy. We work with community water systems to partner or work with each other to create the economies of scales that they need to build that capacity. And then of course, we do the traditional technical assistance. Next slide, please. So to accomplish these changes, how do we holistically bring each of the stakeholders to the table? For instance, to build local capacity, we can't solely focus on funding. Instead, we need to incorporate the building blocks to create the infrastructure to help communities build the local capacity. So when we think about the capacity needs of a community water system, we have to think about the policy and legislation that impacts the way the community water systems operate. How do we help them then go through the planning phases? When we think about the planning phases, we need to think about the institutions. Again, how are they organized? And what are some of the compliance reporting requirements that they have? We look at finance, infrastructure, regulations and accountability, monitoring, of course, water resource management, and then learning and adaptation. Next slide, please. So here's just a breakdown of some of the building blocks that we were just talking about. So policy and legislation. In many cases, we lack the prioritization of funding by policymakers. So every funding program has their own way of kind of funding, but when we look at the big picture, the needs of the community water systems across the state, how can funders help us really prioritize what the needs are, and then provide the funding that way? Well, one of the things that we've experienced since COVID through the present is we have a shortage of engineering companies or technical assistance providers. So due to the shortages, it really kind of makes planning go much longer. We look at the institutions. Again, the institutions are the state agencies, the federal government, the funding programs. And then on the finance side, we look at some of the challenges that we face there. In order for water systems to obtain funding, they have to comply with over 60 conditions for funding through multiple agencies that require many times online filing, which makes it difficult for a lot of the community water systems that we work with. And then many small communities are already at debt capacity and can't access funding. Some small communities are losing population and can no longer pay for the existing loans or cannot afford additional challenges or additional loans. So how do we address those challenges with such small community water systems? Next slide, please. Again, some of the added stress that community water systems face are with water supply associated with increased drought, flooding, and severe weather conditions. From the regulation standpoint, we have a lot of new regulations hitting us at this time, as you all know. We have the lead service line inventories that are due now at the middle of October. We have PFAS, and then we have EPA's restructuring rule, which is going to be an assessment that community water systems are going to need to undertake to look at the ability of maybe working with their neighbors to try to build some of that local capacity. So regulations are always changing. When we look at building funding applications, we always think about, how do we monitor all the data that we have with our utilities? So if we can compile and monitor our data, it makes it easier for our funding applications. And then, of course, we look at water resource management, which really encompasses everything that we do as a public water system. Next slide. So through the RCAP network nationally, these are the appropriation requests that we made to your congressional delegation. So $50 million to the Department of Labor, which funding comes through the Human Health Services, 12 million through Ag under USDA Rural Development under their water infrastructure program, $10 million under Ag under USDA Rural Development for communities facilities, 6 million again under Ag USDA for I forgot his W right now, sorry about that. And then 35 million under the Interior for EPA and 35 million under treatment work as well. Next slide. This is just a shot of the congressional districts in Arizona. And what I wanted to talk about regarding the funding that we just went over is that the majority of that funding is really to provide technical assistance across the country. So that money, if it is secured through Congress, is shared through the RCAP networks and the rural water networks across the country, and it's used then to provide the technical assistance that many of us provide to you. But this is also where funding is available under the state revolving fund, and perhaps WIFA will talk a little bit about this as well. But your Congress delegation can provide SRF funding through what's called congressional direct spending, and it's a way to get SRF funding into your community. And so if you go to the next slide. Here we provided the contact information for the congressional staff for the state of Arizona. So if you're interested in congressional direct spending, you can contact any of the senators or representatives on this slide, and you can talk to them about congressional direct spending. And again, my name is Ramon Lucero. Thank you very much for the invitation to speak today, and I'll stay behind for any questions at the end of the presentation.
Thank you, Ramon. Yes, we will have, after our next presentation, we'll have a little break and we'll be able to ask some questions there. So feel free to put those questions if you have them in the question section, and we will get those answered for you at that time. But for now, we will keep on going to the Rural Water Association of Arizona. Dianir, if you are here, we're ready to go.
Yep. Hi, my name is Daenerys, and I'm the Source Water Protection Specialist here with Rural Water Association of Arizona. Our acronym RWAAZ is a nonprofit, well, our company is in Arizona that has the goal to help water and wastewater systems around Arizona with mostly technical assistance and like hands-on technical assistance. Okay, next slide. So this is our team, and they are a great group of people eager to help. They're all around the state of Arizona. They're always eager to just, pick up the phone and meet you at your system whenever you are needing help. And then if you want more information, I left that off because all of our bios are on our website. So next slide. So I'm going over our programs that we are able to provide with our team. The first one is the circuit riders. They provide hands-on training and personal, professional, and technical assistance to small rural water systems on an everyday basis. They do on-site help in delivered when and where a rural community needs it. This is like 24/7. You could call us and we would be able to try to get you help quickly and just hands-on kind of questions and response. Things that we do with this program is leak detection and identifying and evaluating affordable solutions to problems. So that's the other thing is they will also help walk through like different ideas. Like you don't have to do exactly what they're saying to do, but give you kind of a couple of options of someone else's perspective on how to fix the issues that you're having. Okay, next slide. So then this is my program, the Source Water Protection. It's a voluntary grassroots program where it unites small utilities and local businesses to help protect drinking water sources. It has effectively reduced both point and non-point source pollution, safeguarding public health and saving money. So pretty much I help systems complete source water protection plans, which will go through and collect all of your assets and evaluate your wells, your streams, your lakes nearby, and kind of come up with the point of potential like vulnerabilities in the water system. So then after we create that plan, we then go and help figure out how can we fix this, how can we alleviate these vulnerabilities, and also where can we find funding, which we would usually bring the issues if they're major up to actually this group of community. So then we could help figure out which would be the best way of getting funding to help with these. Okay, next slide. So we also have wastewater technicians. They are very similar to the circuit rider techs, but they are solely for wastewater. They do hands-on training and with small systems. They're very they also help with finding affordable solutions. I know that some of our guys sometimes go, well, almost all the time, go out to the systems. If you're having a very specific issue and you're like not used to it, then they will go out there and help like figure out what's going on. Okay, next slide. This is our newer program. It's a decentralized wastewater. It provides a holistic and technical assistance approach to disadvantaged rural water systems. It helps with finding an inadequate wastewater treatment and different things like that. Sorry. Then they also identify and evaluate solutions to community water and wastewater programs with an emphasis on communities and systems. They assist with improvement, management, operation, maintenance, and sustainability of wastewater systems. And then they also have increases number of communities with improved environmental and public health outcomes. So pretty much that this program is they go out there and do an assessment to help you figure out, okay, where is your wastewater leaking in, or are you having issues with different, like, it's almost like a combination with the source water. We team up with this one a lot to figure out how can we provide a safer way of having this water be disposed and things like that. Okay, next slide. Another thing that we're very heavily involved with is doing trainings and providing free trainings, but we also have for fee trainings as well. Just depends on the topic. These all are hands-on or formal classroom trainings. They're all throughout the state of Arizona. We will come to you and do it at your system, or we also have a few buildings that we also provide the trainings at. Our website is a great tool to find future trainings on, and you also can be there to request for specific ones like leak detection, or pretty much that's the thing that is really great with this program is we have a lot of tools that some small systems won't have, and we will let you use our tools but also teach you how to use the tools. And then we also post on our social medias, of course, as to how often and when we're having the trainings. Our next major event is October 21st and 22nd in Prescott. Sorry for that pool, but just it's our conference, and so you'll get to learn a little bit more there. Okay, next one. So yeah, I went really fast, but thank you so much for having us speak today, and I hope if you have any questions, please let us know. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. At this point, we will pause for a break and questions. If you have any, this would be a great time to put some in the chat. Neil Peterson, I do see your question for the Bureau of Reclamation. Unfortunately, I do believe Ken had to hop off a bit early. But if you have any other questions for any of our speakers so far, please go ahead and let us know, and we'll make sure to get those answered. Again, all of these slides are available in the handouts section with all the contact information. Any operators joining with us, we also have an agenda there so that you can upload the agenda for some PDHs into your OpsCert portal. But for now, questions we will ask as they come in, but we will begin with our next presentation at 2:25. So we'll give you about 14 minutes left here. Ramon, if you're around, there is a question here for you. The question for Ramon, and if he hopped away, we'll get him when he comes back. But it is, what criteria does RCAC use to determine low-income and colonia communities?
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. So the median household income is really determined by information from the U.S. Census Bureau. So whenever we're looking at the median household income of community and what they're eligible for, we'll start by going to the U.S. Census website first and see what it tells us. If that information doesn't coincide with what the community believes their median household income is, we can do a income survey within the community service area. And the income survey is usually done through a mail-in survey. We'll start with the mail-in survey first to across the service area of the community water system. And then if we don't get a full response, we can do an in-person survey as well. And the way that the survey is conducted is under USDA rural development guidelines. And then regarding colonia communities, there's two different criteria for determining a colonia community. One is through NatBank, for example. NatBank's the area that they consider colonia communities are, I think it's 62 miles from the U.S.-Mexico border. And then on the USDA side, it would be 100 miles from the USDA border. And then there's additional criteria as well. So for example, if the community doesn't have adequate roads, water, wastewater, those types of services in the community, and you're currently not considered a Colonia community, we could get that designation by looking at those areas, the roads, the water, and the wastewater services in your community.
Thank you, Ramon. Hello again, everyone. Welcome back from our break. I hope you got a chance to stretch your legs or get some water or whatever you needed to do. But it is 2:25 and we are going to continue on through our presenters here today. Up next, we have the North American Development Bank. Andreas, if you are here and ready, feel free to unmute and take it away.
Thank you, Bram. Next slide, please. Yeah, my name is Andres Rangel. I am with the North American Development Bank. I'm an associate director at the bank, and I oversee grant funding for the western side of the US-Mexico border, including Arizona. And today I'm going to be talking to you about what we at bank are doing and the different programs that we have to assist communities in Arizona in developing their water and wastewater projects and also in implementing those projects. Next slide, please. So the NADBANC is a binational organization created by both the US and Mexican federal governments. And this year, actually, we're celebrating our 30th anniversary. We have programs that will assist communities along the US-Mexico border in developing water and wastewater projects and a few other sectors. I just want to stress that our regional mandate only allow us to assist communities within that border. In the case of Arizona, it's 100K from the Mexican-US border or 62 miles. And I'll have a slide later in my presentation that will give you an idea of some of the communities that we have assisted with, but it's pretty much the 4 southern counties in the state of Arizona that are eligible for our funding. Next slide, please. We at NADBANC have can assist different sectors in developing and implementing the projects. Today, I'm only going to focus on our drinking water and wastewater sectors. So, but this slide can give you an idea of other sectors where we're also being active along the border. Next slide, please. So we have 3 different types of programs that we usually can implement to assist communities like yours. One set is about technical assistance, and technical assistance usually it's a grant. We have 2 different programs there to assist communities in developing their projects. Sometimes what we have seen is that there's a need in the communities, but there's no clear solution to that need. Some cases they need some preliminary engineering, final design, environmental assessments, and so on. So we can assist your communities in helping you develop those answers, those projects, so that they can get to a certain point when you can get to the next phase, which is the implementation or the construction of those projects. And that's where we use our technical assistance. We also have some grants for project implementation, and basically there we have 2 different programs. One is funded with funds from EPA, and another one is funded through our own funds at NADBANC, what we call our CAP program, and I will explain those a little bit more in detail. And we also have loans. So in some cases where certain projects are too big and the communities don't have enough funding from other sources, other grant providers, we can also come up with some loans to assist the communities in completing the whole financial package and moving forward to project implementation. Next slide, please. So in terms of the technical assistance, we have a couple of programs there. One is funded with our own funds. That's what we call our technical assistance program. We can provide up to $250,000 in technical assistance for communities to develop, final designs, preliminary engineering, whatever it's needed to move the project forward. And this assistance, it's focused basically on public utilities and communities. We usually do not provide this assistance to the private sector. We do request that those project sponsors commit to a certain contribution to at least 10% of the cost of the studies. And we'll work with communities to make sure that we have a whole funding package for these studies. The other program that we also have, a grant program for technical assistance, it's funded by EPA. And basically what we need to do is we sit down with the communities, we assess their needs, we rank their needs, and we provide EPA with that ranking. And based on the ranking, EPA will decide or not to provide funding. But basically, if it's a wastewater project, it ranks very high. If there's a wastewater need that needs to be addressed, it ranks very high with EPA. Drinking water projects rank a little bit lower than that, but not much lower than that. So I would encourage you that if you have a water or wastewater need, reach out to us and we can assess your project and provide funding either through our own NatBank technical assistance or even perhaps through also the EPA funded technical assistance. For the EPA funded technical assistance, we do not require a sponsored contribution for preliminary engineering and a few other studies. The only one where we do require a contribution from the sponsor is for final design. That has to be up to 50% of the cost of the final design, and we can only provide up to $500,000 in PDAP assistance for final design. Next slide, please. So the other set of programs are grants programs that are focused on project implementation, project construction. When projects are ready to be implemented, we can provide some grants for construction under our construction community assistance program. One thing that it's important here is that those projects need to be shovel ready to qualify for this program. So we assess the condition of the projects, if there are any other sources of funding ready to be implemented. Also, if sponsors have all the permitting and all the technical designs ready to go. And if that is the case, they rank very high, and then we can provide that funding. We can provide up to $750,000 for construction assistance. We also require that sponsors contribute at least 10% of the cost towards the project. And we have to go through a prioritization process. But again, if the project is shovel ready and it's either a drinking water or a wastewater project, they will rank very high in our prioritization process. And then we can move forward with project implementation. This particular program also has a sub-program, which is an emergency repair program. If a community, it's in an emergency caused by, let's say, flooding or something that was not controlled by the community itself, and they are in need of a quick repair, we can provide up to $250,000 for that quick repair. We have already implemented, approved one of these projects in the state of California where there was this community, one of their lift stations, the only lift station that they have stopped working and they have to start bypassing raw wastewater. So we were able to assist them in a few weeks, in less than a month, get the whole process approved and provide assistance to them. So this is something that we can do very quickly. So in any case, if you're in need of an emergency response, please reach out to us and we can try to assist you as soon as possible. The other program that we have grant program that we have for construction assistance is also funded by EPA. There's a particularity about this program. EPA has asked us to focus this program on assisting communities in Mexico to control and reduce their transboundary raw wastewater flows into the U.S. And basically, we've been focusing a lot on the city of Nogales and the city of Naco. So this is very limited to U.S. communities, since the priority for EPA is to focus on those transboundary impacts coming from Mexico. But nevertheless, if there's a in particular a wastewater need on the U.S. side in Arizona, we can sit down and discuss that and present the case to EPA. And if they agree, then we can also provide some funding. We have been able to do that in a few communities along the border, in particular in Douglas and in Nogales on the US side. So even though it's limited, we could be able to discuss that with you and with EPA and move forward. But if not, for sure, our CAP program that I just mentioned earlier could be an option as well. Next slide, please. This gives you an idea of all the communities that we have worked with over the last 30 years. As I mentioned earlier, projects where we can work in Arizona are just limited to 62 miles north of the border with Mexico. So we cover communities all over the 4 counties. So if your community is located within this region and you have a water or wastewater need, please feel free to reach out to us. My contact information is going to be provided at the end of all these slides. There's my email address, and I'll be happy to set a call with you and go over your needs and see how we can here at NatBank assist your community. Next slide, please. Thank you. So where can you apply for all of these programs that I just presented? If you go to our webpage, that's the best way to do it. Just click on natbank.org, and over there you'll see a tab at the top that says About NatBank, and if you click on that one, it will pop up on the left different sections, and then if you go into our programs, that's where you'll see all the programs that I just presented today. Our loan program, our 2 technical assistance programs, which are grants, and also our 2 construction assistance programs for project implementation. If you click on any of those, it will give you more detailed information on each of the programs. It will also let you know how we prioritize those requests, and it will also have a PDF or electric forms that you can fill out, and as soon as you complete those fill outs, we will receive an email with your application. What we also encourage communities is that sometimes when you are filling out these applications, you might have certain questions or comments. So you can always save those applications and reach out to us while you are working on the applications, and we can assist you in filling out those applications just to make sure that whenever we receive the application, the full application, you can receive as much as higher points as possible based on the information that you're providing. So feel free to contact us while you're applying to any of these programs. We'll be happy to assist you and move your projects forward, either for project development or for project implementation. And I think that's it, what I have for us today. Of course, if you have any other questions, I will stay here and see if we can answer any of those questions. Thank you so much, Brian.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Up next, we have the Water Infrastructure Finance Authority of Arizona, or you might know them as WIFA, of course. Samantha, I see you. Go ahead and take it away. I believe you do still need to unmute, Samantha.
Sorry about that. Thanks so much. All right, so next slide. Hi, everyone. My name is Samantha Lemke, and I am the Environmental Program Supervisor with the Water Infrastructure Finance Authority of Arizona, or WIFA. And I will be going through and talking about all our existing funding programs and exciting new ones too. But before I get into that, I just want to go over WIFA's mission that was actually created by our new board just over a year ago. And it's really to ensure sustainability of our future, present, well, and actually current water supply through financial assistance, investments, and effective augmentation, conservation, reuse, and water quality actions. So far, through our programs, we've conserved 7.5 million acre feet of water, which is awesome. We've also targeted, or at least funded, 100 priority communities meaning those that are more economically stressed and are high priority on our project priority list that I'll go over shortly. And we've also augmented through our projects 100,000 to 500,000 acre feet in new annual supplies. Next page, please. So here are all of our current funding programs. There's the 2 state revolving fund programs, the clean water for wastewater and the drinking water one that have been existing at WIFA. And so these state revolving fund programs, basically they fund entities, political subdivisions that either own a public water system or manage stormwater, and also own a publicly owned treatment work system as well. We can fund those water infrastructure projects. And then we have the new program Water Supply Development Revolving Fund that opened up recently. And we have actually the board just approved a couple projects a week ago. So that's exciting for water supply projects. And I'll talk about that as well in the presentation. And then also we just had the Water Conservation Grant Fund. That went awesome. Like I said, we conserved a lot of water through that program, and 200 million committed and obligated to our applications and current projects that are undergoing right now. And hopefully we'll get future funding as well for that program so we can fund even more conservation projects. This is much needed in Arizona, as we know. And then we also have the long-term water augmentation fund that's still starting up. We're currently designing a procurement process for that. It's a little bit more trickier. It's for water. It's not only for importing water outside of Arizona, but also in-state augmentation projects. So that's still ongoing. Next slide, please. So I'll go talk a little bit more about our state revolving fund program, this well-established, credible program. I'm sorry, can you go back one? Thank you. So the state it's a revolving fund because it keeps on going forward for some reason. Thank you. So the state revolving fund, that's weird. Oh well, I'll just continue talking. It revolves because we constantly get grants from the federal grants and state match grant money. We get loan repayments when we have borrowers for projects. We also go out to bond and get bond proceeds that goes into the revolving fund, and then so we can fund even more projects and continue the sustainable revolving fund program model, so that it's self-sustaining. It can continue to fund projects. I'll also be talking about our forgivable principal that we can offer on our loans and our low market interest rates. Next slide, please. So to rank projects, we have what is called our project priority list, where we look at certain metrics, and the program's tailored to identify and determine high priority projects to low ones. So we look at these factors and metrics at the top in the blue circles. You will be awarded points based on how you answer them, and then you get a total point, and it's scored with the equation and ranked on our list. We can fund all the projects currently on our list, but it still needs to be prioritized based on EPA requirement. It's just a matter of how much forgivable, like we also prioritize forgivable principal for those projects in case we're getting low on it and run out. And then the total points will also determine the discount on your interest rate. And we also have project managers that are assigned based on their counties that can walk you through all these steps as well. Next slide, please. So just to go into a little bit more about the interest rate deduction that you can receive based on the points in your preliminary application. This is the table that we use to determine the subsidy, or we call it now the financial assistance index. So it's a discount on the market rate at the time to determine your interest rate on the loan. Next slide, please. So this is the amount of forgivable principal that we currently have. It's a snapshot in time. So understand that it can, like the minus for the forgivable principal we have right now is attributed to the forgivable principal that we award for our projects, and then the addition of forgivable principal can be attributed to the amount of federal funding that we receive as well. So for the drinking water state revolving fund program, we have the existing base program that we get from through capitalization grants. And then we have, with the BIL funding, the IIGA law that was signed in place a couple years ago, it came with a supplemental pot, which is just extra money for projects that can already be funded through the base program, essentially. And then there's also emerging contaminants for exactly what it states, emerging contaminants like PFAS and other carcinogenic contaminants that we're now seeing in our environment. And then lead service lines, we want to get all the lead out of the ground. That was one of the initiatives of the program. So there's forgivable principal for that we have to give out. And then for clean water, similarly as the drinking water, there's base, what extra BIL money for that, then supplemental and emerging contaminants. Next slide, please. So we also have technical assistance, pretty typical for funding agencies. That we also have technical assistance that's paired with a loan for your water infrastructure project. So just as it suggests, technical assistance if you need like environmental, cultural clearances or design work before you can proceed to construction, we can help you up to $50,000 assistance there. Also Davis-Bacon compliance. There's a couple federal requirements with our loans, but do not fret. We have, again, technical assistance for Davis-Bacon compliance. We can go out and contract for any of those services directly with the company that we choose. So it alleviates any of that burden on communities. And then we handle that process throughout. Next slide, please. So this is the application process. So the water conservation grant that passed doesn't follow this, that's different, but the water supply development fund and the state revolving fund program follow this model. There's 3 main steps. Of course, there's like multiple subset steps between each, but the main first one is the preliminary application, that PPL, project priority list application that I mentioned on it's like an online portal that you submit it through in that link there, or just at easywiffa.gov, our main website. And then the next step, when you're really committed to taking out debt with WIFA, you would obtain debt authorization from your governing body, board if you're a governmental entity, district, city, town. But if you're a private water company on the drinking water side, you would go through the Arizona Corporation Commission to get financing approval. And then the next step is, the staff drafts our analysis report for the board for their review, consideration, and approval. And then a loan can be, once that's approved, the loan can be executed right afterwards. Next slide, please. So this new exciting water supply development revolving fund, yes, it was created a while ago, but we got funding for it finally this year. And like I said, we have already approved a couple great water supply projects, which is awesome. And it's tailored and designed for rural water challenges. So for the rural small, well, it doesn't have to be small, but rural Arizona, where they're outside of they have like less regulations, I suppose, than so only communities outside the major, main active management areas are eligible to apply. And just like the water state revolving fund program, it's for water infrastructure projects, but it needs to target water supply. So if the eligible projects would be anything that conserves or augments, increases the water system, water supply, or even for the water supply for the environment. And for the state revolving fund program, we can really fund any cost for a project, but for this program, the grant max amount is $2 million for a project. If there's like a loan portion, if the project doesn't score enough points to be 100% grant, if you have a project that's only $2 million or less, but if it's more, then the loan up to $3 million can be awarded, and then so the total project cost can't be more than $5 million. Next slide, please. So eligible entities for this program, similar to the state revolving fund loan program, there's public and political subdivisions, but this program encompasses more. Also, any voter approved charter, any statutory organization that exists under statutory law of the state or under a voter approved charter. Yada yada. So a city, town, county, district, commission, authority, and actually there's more definitions as lists as well, like county or water augmentation authorities. Counties are not eligible for the state revolving fund, but they are for this program. Even natural resources conservation districts are eligible for this program, whereas for our drinking water programs, it's not for state revolving fund. So it's more inclusive for the rural communities. Next slide, please. And the list that this is more a description of eligible projects. Like I mentioned, it's just not to read off the slide here. It's really projects that help to conserve water, increase water supply for the water system or the environment, or both. And we have, just like the state revolving fund program, we have a project priority list application. It's pretty small to see. It's in the top right corner, and it's for pre-screening, eligibility purposes, also to, like I said earlier, to score and rank your project amongst other projects. So it needs to be filled out accurately. The main challenge we noticed so far with this program is identifying and determining an accurate median household income, because the census website doesn't provide accurate representations of the MHI for like more obscure areas in Arizona, we've noticed. So, but the project managers will work with you once they're assigned to you, to your community, to work with finding the best, or perhaps conducting a survey for that. Next slide, please. So again, it's modeled off of this scoring process is modeled off of our loan program. but it's more tailored for water supply projects. As you can see, it looks at water demands, project benefits, feasibility, and financial need to give you, we call it a priority value, which the total points basically. And you can, based on that value, and also based on, it looks at the points and then your median household income and how different it is to the current state's median household income. We give points based on that, but I don't want to go too much into that, but it does look, it's very heavily based off of median household income. And there's 3 tiers, 70, 75, 80, and 85 to 95. And you can see there the ratio between grant and loan eligibility. So the first tier is the best bang for your buck. Yeah, next slide, please. So why is WIFA a really good option for your water infrastructure projects? Well, because we offer low-cost financing. Like I went over, we'll always offer below market interest rates, forgivable principal that's determined once we review the project. We can provide a large chunk of forgivable principal. Of course, like I mentioned, the priorities for projects that are in really most need of the funds, economically stressed, and if it's even like a health threat to we look at those 2 factors. We prioritize our forgivable principal on median household income, high rates for the community if they're struggling to pay their water rates, and then public health threats. Did we also offer, if you're not ready to go to construction, 3-year design loans at an interest rate of 1% flat rate, and now grants we offer as I went over. And then we also have our applications are accepted. The applications are accepted all throughout the year. You can apply whenever you want, and typically it can take 3 to 4 months to hit the ground running if you're ready to proceed with your project, because we have committee meetings and board meetings bi-monthly, and then the loan gets executed afterwards, and you can start your project. So it's really not a long lead time. It's a really great program for water projects. Thank you.
Samantha, thank you very much. I do want to apologize for you for some of those slides having a mind of their own. I'm not entirely sure what they were up to. I will double check if it keeps persisting. I will minimize and make sure that this presentation doesn't have something toggled on that I might be able to turn off. But thank you very much for your presentation. Again, all of these slides are available in the handouts section. But we will keep on going. Mary, if you're ready for the Greater Arizona Development Authority here.
Hi, yes,
ahead.
I am ready.
Awesome.
Don't know if you're able to see me. There we go. Okay, excellent. Hi, everyone. I'm Mary Foote. I'm the director of the Greater Arizona Development Authority, a program that was recently relaunched under the new administration to assist with infrastructure needs across the state. Next slide. So GATA, as we call it, was active from 1997 to 2014 when it was in operation. And really the reason the authority was created was to assist Arizona communities, public communities that are maybe smaller in size, maybe outside the metro urban areas of the state. So really trying to assist those communities with public infrastructure projects, which includes water, wastewater, et cetera. So in terms of eligible entities for assistance through GATA, it's political subdivisions. So that's cities, counties, towns, a lot of special districts, municipal improvement districts, water districts, and then also Indian tribes, as long as we're able to get a tribal waiver for the pledged revenue. Next slide. So how does it really work when we say, oh, we're going to be able to provide financial assistance? So essentially, GATA is a bond bank. Lots of states have got bond banks. The Greater Arizona Development Authority is ours, which means we have bonding authority. So what we're able to do is to make low interest loans to folks for infrastructure projects. And then what we'll do is we bundle all of those loans together and we issue the bond. So we're really just acting as a lender to communities or districts or tribes for their infrastructure projects. During the time that it was active, GATA was able to do almost $600 million in public infrastructure projects across those 84 projects. We do have a high level of bonding capacity, so we are able to lend for some big size projects as well, so just keeping that in mind. Next slide. So how do we do this? I mean, really, we have our own bond rating. So we do it a couple of different ways. If we're working with a community, we may be asking them to make sure that they can pledge their state shared revenue if there are missed payments. If it is another type of entity like a special district or something like that, we also have a fund from which we can draw payments if somebody misses a payment. So all of those things make us a really secure investment, which is why we have a AA muni bond rating. And then we just pass those interest rates on to you for the loan that we're making. So sometimes people may want to issue a bond. Why come to us instead of issuing your own bond? Coming to us for a loan is better because one, it's just easier to do than doing your own bond from a regulatory standpoint. You don't have to go to a vote if you have fewer than 50,000 people in your subdivision, special district, or tribe. So fewer than 50,000 people means you do not have to go to a vote. There is also a cost of issuance in doing your own bond for infrastructure and water projects. That includes, bond counsel, all of those things that can make it very expensive to issue a bond. We're going to cover half of that cost, and the remaining half is split among the people who are lending, or I'm sorry, who are borrowing. So the borrowers will split the remaining cost of issuance, and that will be rolled up into their loan. We are working on a technical assistance fund, so we do have some funds for technical assistance. We'll be launching that program in the next couple of months, so we'll be sure to pass on the information about how you can apply for that. The technical assistance funds will be contingent on the idea of doing a loan with GATA at some point in the future, once you have your plans, the things that you need in order to move forward with the project. Next slide. So I know we're here talking about water infrastructure, but also want to make you all aware of the various other types of infrastructure projects that we can fund as an authority. So we can do land acquisition, infrastructure improvements for things like community centers, justice buildings, parks, anything like that. We've been talking to a lot of folks about pools and golf courses. So those are also eligible projects for the Greater Arizona Development Authority. Next slide. So just giving an example of some of the projects that we did when the program was at its height. So you can see that Lake Havasu, that was a $58 million project. So again, we can do projects, water projects, wastewater projects at a very large size. If needed, we do have the capacity to lend at those dollar amounts. Next slide. And then this is just an allocation of the different types of financing that we've done throughout the history of the program. You can see the second largest number of dollar amount that was lent in terms of projects was specifically for water and wastewater. And so we want to continue to understand how we can best support your water infrastructure needs with our financing program. Next slide. So what's next? We do have a bit of a short turnaround for this financial assistance round. So it's due October 1st. You can go to gata.az.gov to find the application and more information. We are able to be a little bit flexible on that October 1st date with some of the things that will eventually be required. But we will need them by the time we get to the middle of December and our board is actually approving those applications. So things we're really going to want to understand are, what is the project? What's the description of it? Is it pretty close to being ready for construction? Do you have plans, timelines? Really something that gives our underwriters an assurance that what they're funding, that dollar amount really matches up to what the project is looking like. We are thinking by the time that the bond actually gets issued, we may see yet another interest rate drop. We don't, can't promise anything, but right now we're looking at about 3.5% for our rates. So if you're looking for something that's kind of in that range, because it is a state bonding authority, it is not federal money. We do not have any restrictions. So you'll get 100% of the money up front. We aren't measuring on drawdowns, anything like that. There's not a reimbursement model, and we do not have any restrictions relative to Buy America, Build America, or the Davis-Bacon Act. It is really just a lending program to provide you kind of lower interest rates, but also provide you the flexibility you need to get the project up and going. And my information is there. If anybody has any additional questions, is interested in that next round, October 1st, we'll be doing another one probably in April or May of 2025. And that is it for me. Thank you so much for allowing me to come here today and talk to you all about the program, and happy to answer any questions in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mary. Continuing on to the community development block grants, Daniel, you are up if you are ready to go.
I am ready.
Excellent.
All right. Hello, my name is Daniel Boyle. I am a contracts coordinator with the Arizona Department of Housing Community Development Department. And today we're going to talk about what CDBG funding we have available. Next slide, please. So we're just going to go over a few things, what types of funding we have, or and when applications are due, eligibility requirements, some eligible uses, how to apply, and then I'll leave you with some contact information. Next slide, please. Thank you. So we have CDBG funding available through annual regional allocations, and it's not a set amount every single year. The different region, unit of local government, has a different amount, and which is determined by a method of distribution based on the low income percentage of the region. In Arizona, we have what we call councils of government that provide technical assistance to each of their regions. They help with applications, compliance with Davis-Bacon, Section 3, all that stuff. So there's 4. We have Northern, Western, Central, and Southeast, and we'll go over what areas are covered. So the allocations come out annually, and they range from about 70,000 to 500,000. And like I say, it's not consistent for each community because they work together. Some communities combine a few years funding to maybe have bigger projects. Next slide, please. So here's a list of the 4 councils of governments that we have: the Central Arizona Council of Governments, Northern, Southeastern, and Western. And each one of those communities listed gets funding either annually or biannually. And the counties get funding also. And not every place gets funding every year. Like I say, some is every other year. Next slide, please. So some eligible uses is any publicly or privately owned water, wastewater system. You can pretty much do anything with it, from installation of new lines, replacement of equipment, storage tanks, digging wells, replacement of aged systems. And our only eligibility requirement is that the service area, so your domestic water improvement district or your town, whoever benefiting from the project, is at least 51% low to moderate income. And that's verified through using census data. And if that doesn't pan out, we can do a special income survey of the direct beneficiaries to try to get the project qualified. Next slide, please. So the applications are submitted to the Department of Housing through the units of government that are receiving the funding that year. And all of the funding goes through a public participation process. So in order to get your project considered, you would need to attend a public meeting and present your project to the council. And then they hold another meeting to choose which projects they would like to do. So the best way to do this is to sign up for a mailing list for your the Council of Government mailing list, your town, your city, your county, so that you can get notifications on when public hearings and funding opportunities come up. I really recommend if you see your town in one of those areas that we serve, that you contact the Council of Government there and ask them for some technical assistance, and they're happy to talk to you about your project and when the due dates are and what the best way to move forward is. Next slide, please. And here is the contact information for each one of those 4 Council of Governments to contact for technical assistance and sign up for their mailing lists. And my contact information is there also, and I am always happy to help. And that's it.
Perfect. Thank you, Daniel.
You're very welcome.
All right, everyone, we've got 2 presentations left for you today. So Michael, if you are here and ready for the U.S. Department of Agriculture Rural Development.
I am, yes. So next slide. So my name is Michael Dean. I'm the Community Programs Director for Arizona. I handle the water and waste side as well as community facilities. And obviously the water and waste is applicable to today's presentation. So next slide. So in terms of our applicants, we mainly deal with public bodies, local government entities, sanitary districts, DWIDs, that type of thing, private nonprofits, and federally recognized tribes. Since it is rural development, our focus is mainly on rural areas. So any water environmental programs we do on the direct side, the population needs to be under 10,000 for the city, town, or CDP. It can be an unincorporated area as well, and we look at the actual service area for that of the system. And we also have a guaranteed side, which is a higher population. It's under 50,000. Next slide. So in terms of our program for water and waste, we can do the acquisition, construction, or improvement of drinking water systems, sewer collection systems, solid waste, and stormwater systems. And generally, most items associated with those. It's a very general program. Next slide. So in order to apply to any of our programs, what we look for initially is a preliminary engineering report and environmental report. So in order to get started, if you can't afford any of those reports yourselves, we do have 2 programs that could potentially be used to help fund those. So initially a search grant and a PPG, or pre-development planning grant. That's what they're called. So these are applicable to, kind of depends on what your circumstances are. The search grant is for 2,500 in population or less, and the median household income needs to be 80% or less of the state non-metro median household income. So in our case, what we look at on the census data is the town, the CDP, and what their, or the block group, whatever census data we have for that system, what your MHI is, and then compare it to our state non-metro median household income, which is 59,162. And so 80% is about 47,000 or below. That's what we look at if it qualifies for search grant or PPG. It needs to be below that. Now, the difference is PPG, there is an applicant match and it does have a higher population. And this year, the PPG actually went up to 60,000 in funding. I don't know if they'll continue that next year, but it's likely. but you still have an applicant match of 25% on that. Next slide. So once you have the preliminary engineering report and the environmental, moving towards the actual project, we have loans and grants. So we have low interest loans that can be combined with the grants, and we do that automatically. We'll get into how we look at that and what grant percentages you could potentially obtain. But our loans can go up to 40 years. Interest rates right now are 2.375 to 4%, depending on what you qualify for. And grants themselves are based on the median household income and health or sanitary conditions that you're facing. Typical funding at a state level, we generally get about $15 to $18 million in loans, $3 to $5 million in grants, and quite a bit less in guaranteed. But any projects that we receive, if they go over this, we can easily access the National Office reserves and fund something that's 30, 50, $60 million if needed. Next slide. So this slide is based on the actual eligibility, what we look at. So MHI as compared to state non-metro median household income is kind of determined, along with the health or sanitary issues, kind of determines the grant percentage that you're looking at. So if it's 80 to 100% of the state non-metro median household income, you could potentially get 45% grant for a project. If it's below that for an income, then you could potentially get 75% grant. So if you're under that 47,000 in income and you have a health or sanitary issue associated with your project, then you could potentially access up to 75% grant. Next slide. When we're looking at grant, we also look at similar systems and the user cost as a percentage of the median household income. I'm not going to get it all in specifics, but we do look at other items. So just because you may qualify for up to 45% or 75% grant does not mean we will receive 45% or 75%. There's other factors that do go into it that we have to take into account. Next slide. So we use RD Apply. It's an online application tool. All applications are submitted through RD Apply. You can work with your engineer in order to fill out RD Apply. This is needed for the search grants, the PPGs, the projects themselves. We use it pretty much for everything as an application tool. RCAC and Rural Water have helped with this on many applications, but it's required for any project that we move forward with. Next slide. So we kind of covered some of the eligibility in terms of the type of organization. Obviously, you must have legal authority to construct, operate, and maintain the proposed services and facility. It has to be used for a public purpose. We can partner with other lenders, most agencies and lenders themselves. We can partner with just about anybody. In some cases, we can even use our funds. Another agency can use them as a local match if a local match is required. And of course, projects must be sustainable. Next slide. So in terms of the location of the facility, like I said, it's mainly serving rural areas. So it has to be 10,000 or less in population. So if your system is located in a city or town that's 10,000 or more in population, we could potentially help you expand outside if you're trying to reach an area outside your city limits or CDP area in order to expand the system. And we can fund any costs associated with that expansion. But inside that area, we really can't assist, unfortunately. We can assist if it's a guaranteed loan, however. But our grants are not associated with the guaranteed loan. It is strictly loan on the guaranteed side. Next slide. So initially, if you are interested in submitting an application, we ask that you contact us so we can kind of discuss the possibilities, the eligibility, the processes, requirements, the timeframes associated to see what you could potentially qualify for and get you on the right track with our program. It is somewhat complex moving forward, and we'd like to try and guide you through the process if possible. It's just to make it a little easier and possibly a little quicker. Yeah, in terms of applying, we've had a few that have applied as a town and want to switch over to an MPC or vice versa. It's very difficult to do that under our program for whatever whatever reason. So if you do want to apply, we ask that you apply as the final applicant or final entity. Otherwise, it can delay construction and cause quite a bit of issues associated. All of our projects, in addition, if it's 500,000 or more in loan portion, they do require interim financing associated. So there are some additional costs involved. Next slide. So in terms of financing, we can provide additional funds in terms of equipment unassociated with the system itself. So if you're looking for a vehicle, a building, computers, whatever it may be for your system just to operate, we can add that to a project cost as long as it's not over 50% of the overall project costs. Similar, we can actually refinance the debt associated with previous projects. It just can't be over 50% of the overall loan or project itself, rather. And we can do acquisitions of existing facilities, but they are loan only. Next slide. So there are some items that we cannot fund as part of the project. Facilities that are not modest in size, design, and cost is an important one. Any portion of the cost of the facility which does not serve rural residents, that's a major one that we have to make sure we follow. All these we have to follow, but that's a specific one. Let's see. And then we cannot reduce the user cost to a level less than similar systems costs. So we can only add enough grant funds to make it feasible and maintain it equal with similar systems. So there is a level of grant funds that we hit that we can't exceed. Okay, next slide. And that is essentially all I have. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael. Appreciate it. We will move on into our final presentation for today from the EPA. Sarah, if you are ready to go, there you are. Take it away.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. Hi, my name is Sarah Jacobs, and I am the Water Technical Assistance Coordinator for EPA Region 9 out of our San Francisco office. Next slide. So as you may know, the bipartisan infrastructure law or bill is investing about $50 billion in more infrastructure through EPA, primarily through our state revolving loan fund program. So you've already heard from WIFA, and that's where you can access that funding. With the Environmental Justice 40 or EJ 40 initiative, we're trying to get 40% of the funding targeted to disadvantaged communities. And it's a huge undertaking. So while most of that money that from the bill funding went to the state revolving loan fund program, a portion of it was used to award grants and contracts to technical assistance providers to provide free technical assistance or TA through EPA's Water TA program. The technical assistance is targeted to underserved and disadvantaged communities to help them access and effectively utilize the bill funding. So what can this be used for? On the slide, you can see identifying water challenges, planning for solutions, increasing community engagement, improving compliance, building capacity, applying and identifying and applying for funding and implementation, helping with that as well. So these are just some examples. Next slide. So here's a list of entities that are eligible to receive technical assistance. But the message I'd like to say is that, you feel free to reach out to EPA or you can reach out to me directly. And there's a general email for our Water TA program, and request whatever assistance you need. And if we can't figure out how to provide it, we're on the RWIC program, and we work with the state and technical assistance providers, and we'll try to identify a program that can help you. Next slide. Okay, so there's a wide variety of services provided under the Water TA program, from planning to project management. And these services can be tailored to meet the specific needs of each community. So I'll just give a few examples. For planning and assessment, we can support community engagement or asset management development. For project development, EPA has several engineering support contractors that can assist with preliminary engineering reports or cost estimates or other planning documents. For partnership and engagement, we have the ability to provide training and education in areas of capacity building, leadership training, operator certification. For funding and financing, identifying funding opportunities, completing rate studies, support for applying to grant programs. So there's also program management support, so we can assist with project implementation, such as contract management or construction oversight. And I'll just give an example of one interesting innovative project that we had in Arizona, working with WIFA and ADEQ. The Gila County had a cesspool. You know, they have a lot of cesspools in their county that they need to get converted, and some people on fixed incomes, they have a housing program that provides upgrades to homes, and with people on fixed incomes and or other disadvantaged communities. And so, but the problem was that those of people on cesspools, they didn't have enough funding in the program to upgrade their homes and upgrade the cesspools. And so WIFA came up with a new program to provide 100% loans to homeowners going through the county or to counties to help homeowners upgrade their cesspools. And so that was an example of a new innovative financing program that WIFA was really the one that came up with it, but it was the Water TA program that kind of brought all the county and the state and the federal agencies together to see, you know, how can we address this problem? So it doesn't necessarily have to be an identified solution. We can help with difficult problems to try to identify new solutions. Next slide. Okay, so the point of this slide is that there's a lot of different EPA technical assistance programs under the Water TA umbrella. And here are a few examples on this slide. And I don't expect anybody to remember the names of all the programs or understand the eligibilities or the details or resources of each program. But I am going to go over a few of these programs just so that you can understand the broad range of assistance available. So next slide. Okay, and before I go into some of the different programs, I just wanted to say, if you want to look for yourself, to poke around and understand more about the Water TA program or the different programs within Water TA, we have a website here at epa.gov/waterTA, and there's fact sheets. There's a big blue button where you can click and request TA, and the form takes less than 5 minutes to fill out. You just put in your contact information and put a couple of sentences about what you need. So it could be, I need help with my asset management, developing a program, or I need help with finding a funding source for this project, or I need to do a preliminary engineering report or feasibility study. So you can just put in there a few sentences and ask for assistance. Next slide. Okay, so I'm going to hit on a few different programs under our Water TA umbrella. And I wanted to, thank you. I wanted to just remind everybody that I've heard, several different people speak about technical assistance, and we mean different things when we say it. So some people by technical assistance mean they can provide money to help support maybe planning for a construction project. But EPA, when I say technical assistance through our Water TA program, it's not funding. It's just assistance. We fund TA providers, and they can provide support to communities, but they do not provide funding. So I just wanted to clarify that. And this slide, I'm starting out with on the wastewater side with our Rural, Small, and Tribal grant program. And you can see on the bottom, there's a few different priority areas, financing and funding. So financing a project, compliance assistance, like if there's struggle meeting NPDES permit compliance needs, tribal systems, decentralized wastewater systems, so that's like failing septic systems, and also I think the one not listed here is lagoons. Next slide. Okay, so this is a newer program, Closing America's Wastewater Access Gap. And so this one is just for decentralized wastewater systems, so cesspools and failing septic systems. And this one provides engineering support. So it's a contractors that can develop preliminary engineering reports, feasibility studies, and can provide assistance for planning for how to address those kind of systems. Next slide. So you may have heard of our environmental finance centers, or EFCs. Since the passage of bill, EPA has greatly increased our capacity in the environmental finance centers and expanded the services they can offer by standing up both regional and national bill-funded EFCs focused on water infrastructure. So that's drinking water, wastewater, and stormwater. RCAC is the regional bill-funded EFC that works in Arizona. And there's also national bill-funded EFCs that have various expertise that we can also tap into. The next one. Slide. Yeah, thanks. And these are our national EFCs, and so they each have different expertise. For example, the U.S. Water Alliance, their superpower is community engagement. Moonshot Missions is more on the engineering support side. So anyway, we have a bunch of environmental finance centers, which are just another word for technical assistance providers. Okay, keep going. Okay, so switching over more to drinking water, this training and technical assistance program provides training and technical assistance primarily for small public water systems and private well owners. Next slide. And these are just some other examples of programs creating resilient water utilities, or CREW as we call it, supports communities in preparing for being resilient for natural disasters or climate change like drought. Cybersecurity is pretty self-evident in providing support for cybersecurity. And then area-wide optimization program, that's something to help utilities optimize their drinking water systems. Next slide. And our Water TA engineering support contracts, this is just the more engineering side. Like I said, preliminary engineering reports or cost estimates. And so we can provide that engineering support for project planning as well. Next slide. Okay, this is the website, the epa.gov/waterTA, and you can see in the a box there on the bottom, the button where you click to get to that web form, and you just fill out really simple information there. And so it's pretty easy to request that assistance. Next slide. And I think that's it. So I'm going to stick around for any questions. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Sarah. As our slide here suggests, that is the end of our presenters today, but they are still around. Several of them are. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to ask them in the questions here. We do have some time to answer some questions if you have any, or if you think of any at a later point, we do have contact information for all of our presenters here today, or if you need some more information from any of these presenters at any point in time, feel free to take a screenshot or a picture or whatever you need of this slide. Again, all of these slides are in the handout section of GoToWebinar. But thank you everyone for joining us today. We hope you have enjoyed the forum here today. I hope you've learned a lot about all of these different programs. I will give just a couple minutes here for questions. There's one. This one looks like it is for you, Sarah. Sarah Jacobs. Neil Peterson asks, would EPA consider redirecting some federal funding to cover unfinanced government mandates, e.g. lead pipe inventory? I believe you're on mute, Sarah.
Thank you. Yes, we do have technical assistance for lead service line inventories. So that is, you can specifically go online and fill out that WAR-TA form and request assistance in that area, and then we'd work with the state and to check in with them and see if they would prefer to provide that assistance, but if not, we can.
Awesome, thank you. If there are no other questions, again, feel free to reach out to any of these presenters at a later point if you get there. But thank you very much for joining us today. I hope, again, that you've enjoyed your time here. And remember, operators, to get that agenda downloaded so that you can submit your PDHs for this webinar. I'll give it just 1 minute here before closing out, but you are all free to go. Thanks again for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Alex, hey, this recording should be posted up on the the RWIC website, and it might as well be on the ADEQ YouTube channel. It'll be on one or both of those. The agenda, Ted, should be in, there should be a handouts drop-down section for GoToWebinar. One of those two should be the agenda. If not, sometimes that doesn't display for some people. If it doesn't, we should be able to send you a share file to the agenda and the presentation slides as well. Perfect. Yeah, Ted, the answer to your question there, if you're still around, there's a link that has been shared with you there in the question section to the share file. That should be available to everyone. You can follow that link, and that's an alternative way to download the handouts for today. If that is all, I'll be closing the webinar now. So thank you once again, everyone. Oh, Edgar, PDHs will still be the full amount that's displayed on the agenda. Don't worry about the early ending. Ted, we should be able to have, we should see all of the emails for all of the attendees today, so I'll make sure that that gets sent to you through email as well. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.